let's catch up. So today's video is really just going to be a little catch up on my life updates, where I've been, what I'm doing, and I'm probably not going to focus much on what makeup I'm putting on. So I might mention a few products, but I'm going to link all of the products below, and I'm going for a natural look today. Let's hope that I stick with that. So actually I just posted a video. I was gonna say you've probably noticed I haven't posted since like May, but I just posted a video today. Happy September, by the way. 2021 is flying by. I can't believe it's already September. So with that being said, yeah, I've been a little bit inactive for a while. I've been super busy and then super unmotivated, I guess. And then it's also hard to post videos about your life when you're not really doing anything exciting. I guess there were a few parts in there that I could have videotaped, but... So my first big life update would be that I graduated. I was going to Florida State University. I was in grad school, getting a Master of Arts in Arts Administration through the College of Music. Graduated in April, so they actually took away our spring break so that we could graduate earlier because of the pandemic. And our ceremony was in person, which was really nice. It was a limited capacity, masks, you had to wear masks, except you didn't have to in crossing the stage. And then you would put it back on once you got off the stage. I'm very thankful that they allowed that to happen, and my family got to come in to Tallahassee to come see that. So I had my brothers, my mom, and my stepdad there. Yeah, so I loved my time at Florida State University. I had great professors, great classmates. I loved my apartment. If you're wondering, I lived at Enclave at Huntington Woods in Tallahassee, and my apartment tour is one of the earlier videos of my channel. So if you're interested in an apartment in the area, I really enjoyed my time there. The apartments were really nice. Hardly any pests. I had like one dead cockroach I found, and that was traumatizing, but I've heard much worse from other people. And they do a lot of giveaways there. They have a pool, a little sand area, and maintenance was really quick. Yeah, I had a great experience at the Enclave. Okay, so like I said, I was at Florida State University. I started in August of 2019 and had one semester in person and then 2.5 semesters in person. So fall 2019 and half of spring of 2020, we were able to go in person, and I'm glad I at least got a little bit of time to do that. That way I could like meet my classmates and stuff. And during my time at Florida State, I held 2 jobs. So one of them was through the College of Music, and I was the orchestra manager for several orchestras on campus, and that was my assistantship. So I was offered that before classes began and knew what I was getting into, and got a large waiver for tuition, and I loved that assistantship so much. So my first year, I worked with 2 orchestras, and there was another orchestra manager that was kind of like the overarching orchestra manager, and then she graduated, and then it was me that was the overarching orchestra manager. And I worked with one orchestra on campus because usually there were a few different versions, but we didn't have opera this year, so they kind of left it as one group. And then there was a girl that stepped into what my role was my first year, who you've actually seen on this channel. Her name's Amanda. So that was a super, super fun assistantship. I'm really grateful that I got to do that. I'm not even getting ready for anything in particular. I just am like bored and feel like sometimes I'm more productive when I look decent. So my second job that I held while I was in Tallahassee, I was an intern for the Tallahassee Symphony Orchestra. I also loved that job. I loved my coworkers. They're amazing women. I held that position for both years as well. And it was a general internship. A little bit of everything within an orchestra. Patron services, box office, marketing and development. I had two supervisors. One was Mary and one was Mandy. And they were both amazing women to look up to and have as mentors. Yeah, I'm super thankful for those two. And both jobs were able to keep functioning during a pandemic, which was really impressive because a lot of orchestras shut down, understandably, but we still wanted to be able to serve the Tallahassee community, and I'm so glad we did. But yeah, so because of my assistantship, I had to be in Tallahassee for both years of grad school, even though all my classes were virtual for those 2.5 semesters. And I had a good time. I had a handful of friends still there, and we got to hang out a lot. Got to watch The Bachelor and Bachelorette together and have some girls' nights, some board game nights, that sort of thing. And I'm really grateful for that, or else I would have probably lost my mind because I did live alone. And the next update was that I moved back home to upstate New York. So my graduation was in April and my lease was supposed to end July 4th. And I was waiting in my apartment to try and land a job so then I wouldn't have to move from Tallahassee to New York to wherever my job was. But that didn't end up happening. So I ended up moving home middle of June because, for those of you that don't know, I run a summer camp for kids with celiac disease every summer, and that was the last week of June. So it made more sense to move back here middle of June instead of going from Tallahassee back to camp, back to Tallahassee to move back home. So instead of doing all those zigzags, I ended up just moving home a little early. So that's where I am right now. I'm living with my brother in Rochester area, and I've been here since mid-June. It is now September 1st. I'm really thankful that he let me live with him. So I packed up everything myself in my apartment, sold a lot of my furniture, like most of my furniture was sold or donated, and I was able to actually hire movers for a couple hours to move boxes down the stairs because I was on the second floor. We hired them to move me down the stairs into the truck, which was unbelievably helpful. They were so fast carrying tons of boxes. It was like my jaw was like dropping every time I would see them come back up the stairs and take like 5 of these heavy boxes and go back down the stairs. I was like, you are superhuman. I would definitely recommend hiring movers for even just a few hours if you do live on a second floor or third floor. I'll link the guys I used below because they were super friendly, very quick. Yeah, it was a great experience. So I touched on the fact that I came back because of the summer camp that I run. So we had our 8th year this year, like the very last week of June, and the camp is called Celiac Strong Summer Camp. And I founded that in 2014. That was my Gold Award project for Girl Scouts, and then I turned it into a nonprofit in 2016. So yeah, this was our 8th summer. We do count last summer. Even though we didn't meet in person, I still had kind of a virtual camp I tried to do. Obviously wasn't the same, but I'm glad I got to do something rather than just canceling. But we got to go in person this year, which was amazing. Very glad we got to do that. We were watching guidelines closely and everything was changing week to week, so it was like, well, what's gonna happen the week of camp? Waiting for all those guidelines. It was rough, but we managed. We followed New York State guidelines, of course, so we had to wear masks inside if we weren't vaccinated, and we didn't have to wear them outside unless we were unable to distance. So we kept the activities outside as much as we could. The only time they were really inside was for eating, and we were able to put half of the campers outside when eating and half the campers inside. Yeah, so that was incredible. I'm so glad we were able to do that for the campers. The camp is from 7 years old to 16 years old, and the kids that would have had their last year during the pandemic, we were able to have come back. So we had 16 and 17-year-olds this year, and they'll be gone next time. So it was great. Everyone was super excited to see each other. I missed it so much. I missed my camp family. Unfortunately, this year, because of the pandemic and everyone taking a hit financially, we weren't able to get as many donations as usual. We still got some good ones, but a lot of the donations where we send campers home with huge goodie bags full of free like coupons and samples and sometimes full-size products, we didn't get as many as usual. Hopefully that will change next year. Hopefully all these businesses will come back stronger. But aside from that, I have also been applying to jobs. Like I said, I was hoping to get a job before my lease ended, so then I wouldn't have to move twice, but that didn't end up happening. I was applying to jobs since February. So there were a lot of job applications I was putting in. I would apply to a few a day, and I sent out well over 100 applications, I would bet. Countless interviews. One interview that I had was even like a 3.5 hour interview. When I saw the schedule they sent me, I was like, what? I had to rent a room in a library so that I could have like a quiet spot for those 3.5 hours. So there was a period in there where I was kind of like giving up, because who wouldn't, after applying for months and months to all these jobs and no one wants you and you don't really understand why. I gave up for like 2 weeks in there applying to jobs, and my boss at the TSO called me and was like, don't give up. The right job is right around the corner. You're gonna get something soon. Don't give up. Keep applying. And then my other boss, Mary, said the same thing to me. Both were calling and texting me, telling me not to give up, and it was really hard to power through that, but I ended up continuing applying and interviewing, and I actually ended up getting a job with Girl Scouts of Western New York. So not a performing arts nonprofit, but still a nonprofit, and I do have ties to the Girl Scouts. I was a daisy in kindergarten all the way to my senior year of high school. I was a senior in Girl Scouts, and like I was saying earlier, Celiac Strong Summer Camp was my Gold Award in Girl Scouts, which is kind of like the Eagle Award in Boy Scouts. Yeah, so Girl Scouts has been a huge part of my life. It wasn't like super random that I applied to a job there and got a position. So I got a job at Girl Scouts of Western New York, and I started the first week of August as a community engagement specialist in the Rochester office. And then of course, as much as I felt bad about doing it, I did keep interviewing with other orchestras, because ultimately where I want to be in my career is with an orchestra, and that wasn't with Girl Scouts. So I did keep applying and I kept interviewing. Sometimes I would go straight from my shift at Girl Scouts to a library around the corner and sign on to an interview, because that's what I want to do. That's my goal in life. So you gotta do what you gotta do. And then all of a sudden, I was offered 2 jobs in 1 week with orchestras, different orchestras, and that was before the end of August. So I had started at Girl Scouts the first week of August and had to leave before the end of August, and you know, I hated doing that, of course. But like I said, I gotta do what's best for me. So I ended up putting in my 2-week notice at Girl Scouts. I have nothing bad to say about the organization or the position. And in fact, if you're in the Rochester area looking for a job, I'll link their website below. They're always hiring positions, and I would recommend the job. It's a lot of fun. You get to work with girls that are potentially going to be Girl Scouts, you get free access to Girl Scout cookies. So I had to do that, and I turned down one job and accepted the other. So I guess that's my other update. So I got a job with an orchestra, and I chose a job in New Orleans. So I will be working with the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra as their artistic programming coordinator, and I'll be working with guest artists and guest conductors and helping out with contracts and many other things in that realm. And I'm super excited for this job and moving to New Orleans. But if you didn't know, New Orleans was just hit with a pretty major hurricane. So I was supposed to move there on Sunday, the 29th of August. I was supposed to fly to New Orleans, and then I had planned to stay in a hostel while I toured apartments. Then I would sign a lease, and my start date was going to be September 7th. But with Hurricane Ida, I canceled my flights and everything's kind of put on hold right now. My thoughts and prayers are with everyone in Louisiana and anyone hit by Hurricane Ida. I cannot imagine what you're going through. You're still without power. Houses are broken and debris is everywhere, and I cannot imagine. I'm so sorry that you're having to go through this. And I'm actually going to link some resources down below if you want to help out people in New Orleans and Louisiana. But yeah, so my plans have changed, and I scheduled the flight again for Tuesday. Is today Tuesday? Oh, today is Wednesday. So my flight, I rescheduled it for yesterday, but things are still, of course, not up and running, and canceled it again. And then I was going to reschedule again for Saturday, but with so many unknowns, I just canceled my flights. I have no idea when I'm gonna get there, and my start date has been pushed to an unknown date. I mean, they're dealing with a lot right now because of the hurricane, and they're gonna keep me in the loop and let me know when my new start date is. And I've been trying to watch for updates, but being in another state, it's hard to see what's going on in real time. The mayor is telling everyone that if you evacuated, please don't come back and stay in the city. Come back if you need your belongings, and then leave again. They're still encouraging evacuation because there's simply not enough resources for people down there, and there's not power, and it's pretty hot down there, so no AC or anything like that. So again, I'll link those resources down below. I'm just hoping things get better for you guys soon. So in the meantime, my start date has been delayed. I don't know when my start date will be, but if you have any suggestions on places to live in New Orleans, any neighborhoods or complexes, or even outside of places to live, maybe like your favorite park or favorite place to eat, please let me know. I really want to dive into the city when I do get down there. I visited once in 2015, and I think it's my favorite place that I've traveled to within the United States. So much history, so much good energy, music everywhere. I'm very excited, and I know it's gonna look a little different since this hurricane, but I'm still very excited to be there and help out however I can. So in the meantime, I am hanging out in New York, waiting to see any updates in Louisiana from the orchestra, and I'm really soaking in extra time that I have been given, soaking that in with my friends and family, and we'll see what happens next and what my new timeline looks like. It's hard because I'm not in control of the situation, which it's never easy when you're not in control of your own timeline and your own life, but it is what it is, and I just have to keep reminding myself that, you know, there's no point in stressing out because it's not beneficial for anything, anyone. It'll all work out. once my timeline does start making sense, you can expect some exciting videos from me, moving vlogs, and I'll take you along with me on my apartment tours and unpacking vlogs, a new apartment tour, lots of fun videos coming your way. Please stay tuned, please bear with me while my schedule tries to work itself out. My products that I've been using today are all going to be linked below, along with resources on how to help those impacted by Hurricane Ida. So if you're interested in the videos I was just mentioning that are going to be coming up on my channel, please stick around, subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you soon.